And I think it's going to be a lot of work for him. And I hope it doesn't become a distraction from the other things that he's doing that I think are incredibly important.
Disney Research Studios says its neural network Fran.
It's going to be a lot of work for him. And I hope it doesn't become a distraction from the other things that he's doing that I think are incredible.
Disney Research Studios says its neural network Fran has been trained on thousands of computer-generated images to provide a fast and some Mac production-ready way to tweak the age of actors on screen, designing thousands of computer-generated images of different faces at different
incredibly important
apps and tools, and watching online tutorials.
The biggest startup campus in the world. This is Station F. Cemented in a city with a now buzzing tech scene. This place plays host to 1,000 startups, and in this room alone there are 3,500 desks and 30 incubators. It really is a place for ideas to thrive. Landing yourself a space here doesn't come easily. It involves a stringent selection process where founders are generally expected to be working on the product full-time, have a prototype or something to show, and already have some users. There's even a green tech meetup happening here. Product full-time, have a prototype or something to show, and already have some users. Over there, Apple's over there, so there's help here in the midst of the open offices of investors and big tech companies. So for apps that want to find their place on the App Store, well, Google's a very different proportion to that help close at hand. And 5 years in, 41% of the founders based here are female.
Yet,
very different proportion to that of the wider
female. We actually discourage quotas like that at Station F. But we believe that once you have more women, every single partner program that we have at Station F needs to do its best effort to get
up using data to analyse early response to cancer treatment.
Being a founder of a startup in medtech in an environment that typically is going to have more CEOs that are men can be a bit daunting for some founders. And the fact that Station F has created these programs, I think, demystifies a little bit.
And this place has hatched all sorts of companies. I've come round the back to a hidden kitchen where I'm going to taste some vegan egg replacement.
Yeah, it's Le Pas Pendu. It's a product that can replace egg for a beaten egg, for example, to cook it like omelette, scrambled egg, but also different recipes.
Lovely. It looks like hollandaise sauce at the moment. The last time that I tried an egg replacement, it really tasted of coconut. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this...
It like omelette, scrambled egg, but also different recipes.
Lovely. Students when they won their place on the female fellowship programme. It really tasted of coconut. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this tastes of. Sherilyn and her co-founder were biotech students. Something interesting.
Our main ingredient is faba bean flour, but also you have colza oil, water, salt, carrot extract.
Wow, carrot, it doesn't look very carroty. How is this different to the other egg replacements that exist?
It's very important to have good nutrition facts. We have only 7 ingredients. It's less caloric than egg, but also rich in protein.
Thank you very much. It tastes a lot like egg. There is a bit of an aftertaste, a slightly bitter aftertaste, but it's a good replacement. The texture's right,
yeah.
And obviously I'm eating it by itself, so as soon as you've mixed it into a recipe or anything, I'm not sure you've noticed that. I'm trying another mouthful, which was a good sign. Outside these walls, though, there are still many challenges.
It's great to be a female founder at Station F. When we go out of this environment and we face real world, we do have still some disparity in terms of funding. And the numbers of 2 to 7% of funding being given or allocated to female founders are real, and we need to do efforts to change that.
Other places are of course taking on the gender imbalance too.
Today, there are so many resources, so many opportunities, so many discussions. People are really engaged and they want to see a difference. And this was not the case from about 10 years ago, where people actually weren't even conscious that there was a gender issue in tech and it was not anywhere in the conversation. We have to see maybe more diversity within venture capital teams. We have to see them actually, maybe in the same way as what we've done at Station F, really go out and increase their applicant pool and the different startups that they're considering for funding. But I think there's maybe in the same way as what we've done at Station F, really go out and increase their applicant pool and the different startups that they're considering for funding. But I think there's a lot that needs to be done to really get us to where we need to be.
Some of this year's highlights. First up, data to find out what phase of the cycle you're in. It then gives you tailored fitness options to suit your energy levels at any given time of the month.
I think that maybe if I would have spent more time understanding particularly when to push myself in the strength room, for example, in that follicular phase, and perhaps I would have, built more lean muscle and become stronger. And who knows, that may have affected my performance in a positive way.
We went to the Netherlands to visit Pauline van Dongen. She creates textiles with solar cells woven into them. Her idea is that these fabrics are a more tactile way for people to interact with the sun and its energy.
What I really like with this sample is that it gives you such an immediate visual feedback when you put your hands on it.
This was pioneering at the time because smartphones were rising. Everyone was struggling with charging their phones, especially when they're out and about. And this t-shirt could actually solve that issue. Type of solar cell that has the lowest carbon footprint. 10 years ago, intelligent textiles were maybe a nice to have, but today, with all the challenges in terms of sustainability and emotional well-being, textiles are really the solution we need.
And finally, car safety testing is still largely done on the same dummies that were used in the 1980s, which were based on the male form. We went to visit a team of engineers in Sweden who are in the final stages of developing the first average female crash test dummy.
Females are somewhat shorter and lighter than males on average. And then we also have differences in
So we've just seen the crash test. What are we now seeing on the screen?
You see the relative motion of the torso and the head interacting a bit with the head restraint. There will probably not be a scratch on your car if you are hit in this damages and so on. But you see the amount of motion that goes on in our body when we
annual list.
here through this evening and tonight, so a spell of winteriness for parts of Scotland, and then that cold Arctic air mass is going to push its way gradually further south across all parts of the UK over the next couple of days. So for the here and now, still a lot of cloud as we end Sunday, a period of more persistent snow and some icy conditions for parts of eastern Scotland overnight, and then the main weather front moves in later in the night, introducing those more widespread snow flurries in the north. Towards the south, then variable amounts of cloud, temperatures getting down a few degrees below freezing, where we do see some breaks in that cloud for parts of eastern England, for instance. So through Monday, here's the cold front sinking its way south, bringing a few splashes of rain. To the north of that, sunshine, but some fairly heavy snow showers, even to low levels across northern and eastern Scotland and northeast England. So temperatures here about 2 to 6 degrees in the north. Further south, still about 7 to 10 Celsius. So we're just holding on to that milder air. Few splashes of drizzly rain around. Heading on into Tuesday, and the cold front pushes its way further south. It may well just linger for parts of southern England, bringing a bit more cloud, a few spots of rain through the day on Tuesday here. But elsewhere, most of us back into more sunshine on Tuesday. But again, the cold northerly blast of wind bringing snow showers from northern and eastern Scotland and down the east coast of England as well. Temperatures colder for all of us, so around about 2 to 7 degrees on the thermometer, but when you add on the wind chill, it's going to feel sub-zero for many of us. Gusts of wind around about 40 miles per hour across parts of Scotland and northeast England. So this is the areas most likely on Monday and Tuesday to see those snow flurries, 5 to 10 centimetres, perhaps as much as 20 centimetres over the highest ground of Scotland. But having said that, there could be some winteriness elsewhere as well. Heading into the middle of the week, and it looks like we're seeing low pressure from the Atlantic starting to move in, trying to spill this milder air in from the southwest, but certainly that is going to bump into the cold air in place. So temperatures, particularly towards the south, edging up later in the week, but the potential for some disruptive rain, sleet and snow during the second half of this week. Bye for now.
I'm not checking social media every 10 seconds. Brilliant.
Oh, there's a rainbow.
Spring is a state of mind.
Get your walking shoes on and go. Go and get healed by Mother Nature.
Spring season. Weekdays from 7 on BBC4 and iPlayer.
This is BBC News. Welcome if you're watching here in the UK or around the globe. I'm Laxmi Gopal. Our top stories. Fire sweeps through a Bangladesh camp, destroying shelters that housed thousands of Rohingya refugees. Police in Athens clash with protesters who blame the government for Greece's worst ever train crash, in which 57 people died. Military spending in China will increase by more than 7% this year, way above the target for economics growth in the same period. Britain's Prime Minister pledges to deport all small boat arrivals by asylum seekers. After a decade of talks, more than 100 UN member states agree on a treaty to protect our oceans.
The ship has reached the shore.
Thanks for joining us on BBC News. A huge fire has ripped through one of the Rohingya refugee camps in Cox's Bazar in southeast Bangladesh. The charity ActionAid said their initial assessment was that more than 2,000 shelters had been gutted, leaving around 12,000 people homeless. Hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees who escaped violence in neighbouring Myanmar have been living in crammed camps near the border in Bangladesh. Earlier, I spoke to the country director of ActionAid Bangladesh about what happened.
It's a very densely populated camp. We host more than 1 million people in the Rohingya refugee camps. And so far, over 12,000 people